What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video. And as you probably know already, Sunday Night Football is quite the matchup. We have quite the storyline building up for Sunday night's game as Tom Brady returns to Foxborough to take on his old mentor and the New England Patriots where it all began. This game is being hyped up tremendously, and I think it's a little too hyped up, but that's another story for another day. This is one of the biggest games of the year, and a lot of people are talking about it, and I wanted to give my 2 cents on the situation. Everybody wants to know who's mainly responsible for that dynasty success. Is it Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick? Did Tom Brady make Bill Belichick or did Bill Belichick make Tom Brady? Before I answer the big question, you guys know the drill around here. Matzo applesauce if you're ever hungry, thirsty, whatever it might be. Matzo applesauce will satisfy whatever satisfying you need to satisfy. If the Caveman guarantee, I promise it will never fail you. Let's get into this. As we all know, Tom Brady is widely regarded as the greatest of all time. He's the GOAT. He is by far the greatest quarterback to ever touch a football. And as we all know about Bill Belichick, he's widely regarded as one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. The combination between these two human beings created the greatest football dynasty that we have ever seen. It's like one of the greatest football dynasties, one of the greatest sports dynasties ever. And as fans, while Tom Brady was still in New England looking from the outside in, we just could not help but wonder who is mainly responsible for that dynasty success. Is it the quarterback executing the game plan on the field, or is it the mastermind behind the game plan? Now, obviously, things have changed. Tom Brady has recently left the New England Patriots. He went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and won his 7th Super Bowl ring, right? And people are quick to answer that previous question that I just posed with Tom Brady. People think it's Tom Brady. They are very quick to answer that question. But I think I disagree. I don't think Tom Brady was who made that dynasty successful. I don't think Tom Brady made Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick made Tom Brady, and let me tell you why. I'm sure as you've seen and probably heard about in the midst of all this drama surrounding this Sunday Night Football game, there was recently a book released and published by a writer and author named Seth Rickersham. I apologize if I butchered his last name, but nevertheless, Seth released a book called It's Better to Be Feared. It documents from beginning to end everything that happened with the Patriots dynasty, and more specifically goes in depth with the relationship of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. There is a lot to take in with that book. I personally didn't read it from cover to cover, but I've been reading a lot of articles that describe all the bulk inside of it, so I've done my homework, so I've formed an opinion on how I can answer this question. There was just so much information to take in, but there was one common theme that I noticed that all of these articles mentioned about this book. And this common theme that I noticed has helped me answer the question that this entire video is about. Did Tom Brady make Bill Belichick, or did Bill Belichick make Tom Brady? As I did my homework about this book, I figured out that Seth wrote about an experiment that Bill Belichick performed near the end of the Patriots dynasty. This experiment was performed on other transcending athletes like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, and many others. The goal of this study was basically to figure out what got these transcending athletes to play at their peak performance, or as they called it in this book, peak of their power. As you're probably reading on screen right here, all these other transcending athletes like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Tiger Woods played at the peak of their power when they were driven by a chip on their shoulder, when they were driven by manufactured conflict and themes of rage. But for Tom Brady, apparently he was different because this was also performed on him. He said that he played at the peak of his power in a loving and supporting environment. That's rather interesting, right? Mind you, this was performed at the end of the Patriots dynasty. After the 6 Super Bowls, this was performed near the end of it all. That is very important. Keep that in mind. And as we've all known throughout the years, that we've learned from this book, that we've learned from all the stories coming out, Bill Belichick is not really one to offer a loving and supporting environment. He is honestly the complete opposite. He is very harsh. Bill Belichick doesn't care about who you are, what you've done, or anything of the sorts. Bill Belichick just wants you to do your job like everybody else. As Robert Kraft put it, Bill Belichick is a fucking asshole, and Bill Belichick was put on this earth to win football games. As we've also figured out from this book, this attitude even applied to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the greatest football player ever, yet this still applied to him. This attitude was upkept by Bill Belichick to Tom Brady from the very beginning when Brady was drafted by the Patriots to the very end when Tom Brady left the Patriots. It was always there. It just doesn't matter who you are. That is who Bill Belichick is. That was one of the biggest reasons why Tom Brady wanted out of New England, which is understandable because, you know, you've won 6 Super Bowls by now. You're 40 years old. You're no longer 20. You probably want to be treated a little bit better than just the average player. I understand that. And I understand why that might be extremely frustrating for Tom Brady, but it made me realize something. If Bill Belichick doesn't hold Tom Brady in that harsh environment to those harsh standards throughout his 20-year career up to this point, is Tom Brady the Tom Brady that we know today? I think the answer is no. I mean, think about it for a second. When has there ever been a transcending athlete at GOAT level that didn't thrive off of a chip on their shoulder, that didn't thrive off of internal conflict. That's one thing they all have in common. They all thrive off of internal conflict, and they all have something to prove. Tom Brady, at the end of the Patriots dynasty, is claiming that he can play at the peak of his power in a loving and supporting environment. But that's at the end of the dynasty, when Tom Brady is who he is today. If Bill Belichick would have provided Tom Brady with that loving and supporting environment that he claims he plays at his peak of power, I don't think Tom Brady is Tom Brady. Remember that study that Belichick did that I was previously mentioning, that he performed on Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, etc., etc.? They all performed on the same thing. They all hit the peak of their power because of one thing, that internal conflict. I was just talking about it, right? And everybody's heard all the stories about Kobe Bryant and how much of an asshole of a teammate he was, and Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. Everybody watched that documentary. He was a jerk to everybody. But everybody around both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant said the same thing. They may have been assholes, but they brought out the best in everybody around them. It made them better basketball players. It made them better human beings. That's what that type of teammate brings to everybody around them. I think that's the exact environment that Bill Belichick brought to Tom Brady. He held him to those harsh standards, had that harsh attitude with him. He had that MJ-like, Kobe-like attitude with Tom Brady to bring out the best in Tom Brady. And I think that harsh environment, that harsh attitude that Bill Belichick brought to Tom Brady, it just kind of mustered that internal conflict. It manufactured that drive inside of Tom Brady that he didn't have before. It made him work hard, and best of all, it made Tom Brady who Tom Brady is today. Not a single one of Tom Brady's coaches could do that for Tom Brady beforehand. I mean, Tom Brady was nobody coming out of high school. He was nobody coming out of college. Once he got to Bill Belichick and his system, that's when everything started to change. Honest to God, if Bill Belichick doesn't form Tom Brady into the person he is today, if he doesn't have him in this environment that makes him work hard, that sparks a fire inside of him, I don't think Tom Brady is the same person. I really don't. I think Tom Brady I think he had it in him, but I don't think it was going to be brought out. Bill Belichick brought that out. Therefore, Bill Belichick made Tom Brady. Bill Belichick is the reason for all the success with the Patriots dynasty. That is my conclusion. Understandably now, Tom Brady was, over 40 years old. He's won 6 Super Bowl rings. That attitude probably got annoying at the end of it, and that is one of the biggest reasons why Tom Brady left, and I completely understand that. But, that attitude is what won him 6 Super Bowls, so how do you blame Bill? The past is the past. That's my conclusion. Let me know your thoughts on the debate. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Leave any thoughts that you have. If you enjoyed the video, as always, please like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I'd appreciate that. You can go over to Twitter, follow me over there. I'd appreciate that as well. I'm part of the Built in Buffalo content creation team. If you enjoy Buffalo Bills content, be sure to follow and subscribe to us on any social media that you might have, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.